Hey guys, we're going to review context clues today. We need a little bit more practice with them, and so we're going to do a couple of different activities to review. So these are the different types of context clues there are. So whenever you're reading, say, a passage or a short paragraph that has an unknown word in it, meaning you don't know what the word is, you can use these different types of context clues to try and help you figure out what the meaning of the unknown word is. So sometimes whenever you're reading and you have an unknown word such as affable, the definition of the unknown word might be right there in the text. So for example, Mr. Fry is an affable person. He is pleasantly easy to approach and always friendly. So I know that affable means he's easy to approach and he's friendly. It's right there. Another type of context clue is a synonym. So a synonym we know means about the same meaning as another word. So again, we're looking for affable. Mr. Fry is quite affable. In fact, he reminds me of Miss Baker. Do you remember how kind she was? So if Miss Baker was kind and Mr. Fry reminds the student of Miss Baker, we know that Mr. Fry is kind. And so we know that affable must mean kind. Another type of context clue that we might run into is an antonym. Now we know that the antonym is a word that has the opposite meaning. So, I miss Mr. Fry. Our new principal is cranky and unapproachable. Mr. Fry was so affable. So if their new principal is cranky and unapproachable, but Mr. Fry was affable, then we know that cranky and unapproachable are those antonyms of affable. Okay? So we know that Mr. Fry was kind if the new one is cranky and just not nice. Sometimes you might read in a text an example of the unknown word. So for example, on this one, Mr. Fry is an affable principal. He knows everybody's name. If you have a problem, talk to them or talk to him. This gives us an example of how Mr. Fry is affable. And so we can figure out that he must be pretty nice and caring if he knows everybody's name. And if somebody has a problem, that he's trustworthy, that you can feel comfortable talking to him. And then another one is inference. So if you are reading a text and you have an unknown word in there, such as affable, sometimes you have to kind of figure out what the unknown word means, but there are some clues in the text to help you. So you don't need to worry about talking to Mr. Fry. He is an affable principal. So if a student has a problem and another student saying, oh, you don't need to worry about talking to him, he's an affable principal, that must mean that he's pretty easy to talk to. So these are just the different types of context clues that you might run into while you're reading a passage. And by using or being aware of these context clues types, that's going to help you figure out the definition to these unknown words that you're going to run across. All right, let's do some practice.